So Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says there is no longer a requirement to remove your shoes before going through a TSA checkpoint. Now, what does this mean for TSA pre-check? That is a great question. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announcing that there is no longer a requirement for you to remove your shoes before going through a TSA checkpoint. Now, this is great news. It's music to my ears because guess what? One of the most disgusting places on planet Earth is an airport floor. It doesn't matter where you are, in the TSA checkpoint, in the regular concourse, wherever you at, it's bad. It's real bad. I see some of y'all doing push-ups, sit-ups, all of that, all on the floor, hands touching the ground, barefoot, no socks, no shoes. You might as well do all of that in the bathroom because that's how bad the floor is. So I am pleased to hear this news. Now, some of y'all are like, look, I done bought TSA pre-check for $78 for my 5-year subscription, and now I don't need that in order to keep my shoes on. Well, look, with pre-check, yes, that was part of it. You keep your shoes on, but you also keep your belt on, and you also keep all your stuff in your bag. Versus the regular TSA line, you got to take your shoes off, take your belt off, take your stuff out your bag. You got to do all those things in the regular line. Now, in the regular line, you still do all that, but keep your shoes on. So I think TSA pre-check is still a good value for those of y'all that want it. For me personally, I never use pre-check or clear or anything like that. I just go straight to the line, stay there for a few minutes, and then I'll go about my way. So for me, it works fine. And with the shoes thing, it's great because all I got to do is put on a pair of joggers. So I don't got to have no belt, keep my shoes on, and my electronics, put them right there at the top of the thing, in my bag. So they come out pretty easily and they go back really easily. My phones, all of that. It's going to be a lot easier for me to get through the line. Now, before I go any further, let's get to what Kristi Noem said. Then I'm going to get to a news clip. If you want to see this clip and the other one, I'll link to them in the description box. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio. Go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
With this no shoes policy, we anticipate that Americans and travelers and those coming into our country will be very excited that they will no longer have to remove their shoes. The one thing that I will say is that doesn't mean that there won't be times once in a while where someone will have to remove their shoes. If they get put into a different situation or need additional layers of screening where that may be asked of them. But overwhelmingly, the policy will be that no longer will that be required of every single person that comes to a checkpoint. The golden age of America is here. We're so excited that we can make the experience for those individuals traveling throughout our airports in the United States much more hospitable, more efficient for them, more timely, and that they can get to their destinations and spend much more time with their loved ones and with their families and with those accomplishing great things for their future. So with this.
All right, there we go. So that again is Kristi Noem, our DHS secretary. Shout out to her. Some of y'all got mad because of the dog situation. Please get over it. I don't want to bring up old wounds, but I'm just saying that was on my mind right now. I had to go ahead and say it. Now, here's one more thing I want to add as far as this whole shoe thing is concerned. People are a little bit afraid about this because they are asking, well, hey, wasn't the shoe bomber part on 9/11? Look, 9/11 had zero to do with shoes. Right around that same time, there was the attempted shoe bombing. I think there was a flight to Paris. It might have been from the USA to France, whatever. Somebody had a bomb in their shoe and they tried to light it, but they couldn't because it was wet. And ever since then, there was intelligence that said, well, we got to take a look out for people having stuff in their shoes and liquids and whatnot. But that was 20 years ago when that whole thing happened. 2025, we have advanced technology, so there's no longer a need for everyone's shoes to come off. But if you go through TSA, you go through the thing that how you put your hands up like this, you go through all of that, and then something pops. Okay, well, come over here, and we got to do an advanced screening. But for the majority of people, there's no point to doing all that. Let's watch the news clip here to see what more they got to say.
To a more streamlined airport security checkpoint.
TSA will no longer require travelers to remove their shoes when they go through our security checkpoints.
A major security shift nationwide with the change effective now.
This would be making it a lot more convenient when traveling with a baby.
Why the
Let's pause. Now, they said that the change is effective now, but some airports may not implement it right away. I was reading up on this. I was watching other videos. And I think that at Chicago O'Hare, they're not quite ready to do this. Now, I don't know when they'll do it, but it'll probably be pretty soon, just like the Real ID. They said, okay, Real ID, you got to have it, everybody by a certain day, and so it was. And I think this will be the same way. Within a week or so, I would presume all the airports will be on board.
Shift. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says TSA procedures and checkpoints have improved and evolved. 94% of passengers now have real IDs, improving identity confirmation.
It was very smooth, actually, and we didn't even have to take our shoes off.
The TSA began screening shoes for explosives back in 2006 after shoe bomber Richard Reed attempted to blow up a flight from Paris to Miami in 2001. Aviation security expert Jeff Price says the technology to screen shoes is available at nearly all of the 440 U.S. airports, but he still urges caution.
The millimeter wave imaging that is currently in use at most of those commercial service airports does have the ability to detect those items at the floor level. The challenge we run into is...
There you go, the whole thing right there. Once you go through that, they're going to pretty much see what you got on you. And if they need to do advanced screening, they'll probably just stop you, pull you to the side, and handle it that way, rather than making everybody take their shoes off.
What you run into is everything still comes with a certain amount of error rate.
Detecting explosives is the top priority at the TSA range in Huntsville, Alabama. We visited in December. This is what's left, a piece of a shoe and the handle from a suitcase 23 years after 9/11. The challenge is to remain on top of any potential threat and detect and mitigate the threat from explosives. And security pros believe the threat remains very real. Explosives found last year at DHL cargo facilities in Europe, which Western intelligence believes Russian agents planted. You're testing explosives, but you're also testing your own ability to detect explosives.
Yes. So in order to do that, we have to keep up with whatever the threat du jour is.
An evolving and constant threat.
Some news, Tom, that will make travelers happy about the shoes. Anything else from TSA that might make traveling a little quicker and easier this summer?
Yeah, I think so. All of us would love to be able to take our liquids and gels, maybe even your morning coffee right through the checkpoint. Secretary Noem says the technology is evolving. We may be getting to that place over the next 6 to 9 months, maybe longer. By the way, we showed some of this technology on the Today Show last year. We were in Las Vegas, and they've got the new state-of-the-art scanners. You literally walk in, dressed as I am, where you could be wearing a coat, and it uses technology to scan your whole body, right? Radio wave, millimeter wave technology, looking for any signs of a weapon, an explosive. And if you have one, it kicks you out. But it's a kind of a self-guided, if you will, scanning mechanism. So that's the question. Might we eventually be going to kind of the self-checkout mode of TSA checkpoints? That's probably down the road. That's where we're going.
For now, we'll take it that we can keep our shoes on. Tom.
All right, sounds good. So again, no shoes coming off, no requirement for shoes to come off, according to the federal government. And I think most airports are going to implement that by the time you watch this. Maybe a couple more days, but overall, that's going to be the standard. Now, as I close, I want to say this. I think it's a great thing. Technology has improved. You saw the way they are able to scan you head to toe. Some are going to say, well, what about my privacy? Well, look, you're going on the airplane. How much privacy are you going to really have? They're going to see what's going on. You want to bring weapons and explosives and whatnot. You can't do that. And I think the majority of people are not going to have a problem. You just go in there, shoes on, put your bag on the thing, get your bag on the other side, and go about your business. Again, if there's anything they see, they might be a little bit weird in your bag or weird on your body, they're going to just take you to the side for a separate screening and have that be that. Everybody else, the 99.9% who don't need that, will just go straight through. Seamless, easy, it makes sense to me. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about the new policy, keeping your shoes on throughout the TSA checkpoint? Is that a good thing, bad thing? Is it going to be dangerous? Is it not really any danger? The shoe bomber was 2001. It's now 2025. The technology we have is much greater than we had back then. Because remember, before 9/11 and all of that happened in 2001, there was no TSA. There was no TSA. Now we got this full apparatus. The technology is greater. So I think at this point, they're able to see if you got something in your shoes or not. But whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.